Well, hospital porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. Right, I'm just showing you a little screen over now of a film I shot a couple of weeks ago, and I've never uploaded it. It's in two parts. This is the first part, and I've not uploaded it basically because for several reasons. Firstly, there's a bit of a legal problem actually because I divulged some information on the soundtrack which I shouldn't have. Hence the sound is turned down. Secondly, it's just not very good, I don't think. Could have been a lot better. Truth was, I mean, I've been walking for about 4 hours, and it's a bit of a longer walk than I thought it would be. And basically, I was knackered. It was hot weather. It was during that heat wave we had a couple of weeks back. Now, what you see me here is you see me climbing up a stairway, and the stairway is leading up to the top of something called the Jarn Mound, which is a huge earthwork in the countryside of Oxfordshire. Now, it's actually at a place called Boars Hill. It looks, to all intents and purposes, like maybe Silbury Hill. You know, it looks like a Neolithic mound, but it's actually quite modern. It was built in the 19th century. And again, this reminds me of the fact that reproductions of Neolithic architecture we've seen before in Milton Keynes. I'll put a link in the description box to my Milton Keynes video. Now the thing is, the village of Boars Hill is it's actually quite recent in terms of the way villages go. It's in the middle of the woods, and it used to be Bagley Wood, but Bagley Wood has shrunk since it was first founded. But the village didn't exist before the 12th century, so it's a post-Norman conquest village, which is quite unusual. There was no settlements in the area in the historical period before then. It was founded in the 12th century, not settled earlier. Now this is the top of the mound. As you see, there's this little plinth here on the viewing platform, and I don't know exactly what that's for, or what it's a table of some kind, I'm not sure. Anyway, the mound, according to the history of the village, the mound is supposed to provide a view, but in fact the mound doesn't provide a view. It's considerably shorter than many of the trees in the area, and as I said, this area was more heavily wooded when this mound was built, and I imagine, you know, the trees would have been higher and more thicker. In other words, the grassland nearby would have been covered by forest as well. So that's a very, very strange thing, that, I think. I'm going back down the stairs. You can see how high it is. It's probably about 50 feet high. Very steep staircase there. Very steep indeed. Now, Boars Hill, like I said, was founded in the 12th century, but it appears occasionally in literature. It's very, very in literature and reports and the news. It's not very, very well publicised actually. It's quite remote. I mean, there is a main road that goes through it now, but I mean, it was built quite recently. There's a couple of local celebrities, poets, Arthur Clough and Matthew Arnold. Apparently, in 1841 they walked to Boars Hill, just like I did, from Oxford, through the woods, and they came across a beast. Something. I mean, it's hard to say. They said blank misgivings of a creature in the wood not realised. Then that sounds to me like a cryptid. In other words, a unknown animal. Now, if you go to the links column in the main Panwo blog, you'll see I've got a link to the Centre for Fortean Zoology, and I think they'd be interested in that. I'm not exactly sure what kind of animal they saw, but it scared the bejesus out of the two men, and you know, it's so that's an interesting thing there. I mean, well, if there's a mysterious creature in the woods, it may be a flesh and blood cryptid, or it may be what Jonathan Downes of the Centre for Fortean Zoology calls zooiform phenomena. In other words, some kind of ghostly thing that looks like an animal. As I said, there's some esoteric kind of elements to this village. The mound, for a start, as I said, it's unlikely to have been an observation mound. It may have some kind of occult purpose. You know, but I mean, the village is also mentioned in Evelyn Waugh's book Brideshead Revisited. It's just one of the characters is talking to another, and they say, keep clear of Boars Hill. Well, why do you need to keep clear of Boars Hill, I wonder? There's a little park, there's a piece of parkland at the end of the map, just a little garden, and there's that big sort. Again, it's a Neolithic type monolith there, and it has an engraving on to someone called Arthur Evans, I think, who built the mound. So it seems a strange thing to put that up there just to see the view when there's no real view. In a moment, I'll show you a place where you get a much better view, which is the place I would put the mound in that case. I think that's really all the interesting parts of that video, I think. There's a bit more to come in a minute. I mean, I'll make my way to another location in the village, and then there's part 2, which I'll play you. Let me just show you where it is anyway. Here we go. This is it. Boars Hill is there. I'll show it on satellite. It's a very, very small village, and it's just a short distance, there, see, from Oxford. There's Oxford. Now I'll go back in again to it. Now the mound you saw is there. See, that's the mound. Strange mound. Now I'm going to show you part 2 of my video. Again, I'm not going to show you all of it, and I'm also not going to play the soundtrack for legal reasons, like I said. Now, this here is called Foxcombe Hall. Now, Foxcombe, well, Combe is an old-fashioned word, a Celtic word for valley. It's where you get the modern Welsh word Cwm, C-W-N. Now, here's where it is on the map. Where are we? Go back there. That's where we are there. That's there, see, where the cursor is. That is Foxcombe Hall, that building there. And I'm walking along there in this video. And there's the gateway. Now then, strange, look. Heraldic imagery on the top of the gate posts. There's a... I didn't get that. There's a dragon on one side and a lion on the other. I didn't get a close-up of the dragon. Oh, it was a terrible movie. I was really knackered. I just wasn't thinking straight. As you see, there's some modern buildings here. And there's a sort of castle-like structure in the middle. We can see that here. As you see, it's quite a big complex here. There's several buildings. There's a car park. It's actually the headquarters of the Open University in Oxford. The local branch of the Open University. Now, there's nothing sinister about the Open University at all. I mean, I'm sure. Because Andrew Johnson works for the Open University. You know, he does computing for the Open University. So, obviously, if Andrew Johnson, you know, of the checktheevidence.com, 9/11 Truth site, and he researches other things as well, like anti-gravity and UFOs. Obviously, you know, he wouldn't be working for university if it was anything sinister. Now, look. That's a lovely view there. You can actually see all the way down that valley there, and in the distance, I think I'll zoom in a moment, is Oxford. And you can actually see, on a clear day with less chemtrailing and less smog, you can actually see the dreaming spires. Now, I found it quite uncomfortable in that village, and I think one of the reasons it wasn't very good, this film, was because I've been on my... there we are. I'm zooming in on Oxford there, yeah, which you can't see very well. That's the Dreaming Spires view. Was that I was feeling uncomfortable, just a bit like I was at Tavistock Institute, because the energy of the place was upsetting me. And there was a man at the gate watching me. I don't know if you saw him. I'll go back a bit. You can just see him at the beginning of the film. There, him. That man was watching me the whole time. Go back to it's actually the interesting bits at the beginning of the film. Him. I don't know who he was, but he was staring at me the whole time. Now, that made me nervous. Him, that bloke there. Now, as I said, that's Open University land. Open University land. But as you say, it's in, as I've said before, it's in a very, very strange location. Now, the Open University is not the only organisation housed there, and this is a bit of a shock to me, but as you see, I've been searching, and that Common Purpose Oxford, you put Common Purpose Oxford, and this is what you get on maps. You find it's actually in Foxcombe Hall. There's something called the Berkeley Room, and this here is Berkeley Road, and inside it seems that Foxcombe Hall is a kind of Nellis Air Force range, and inside it is something called the Barclay Room, which is kind of the Area 51 within the Nellis Air Force range, and that is where Common Purpose is based. Common Purpose, yep, indeed. And here we are, Common Purpose, Oxford. Here's the address: Foxcombe Hall, Boars Hill, Oxford. You can see it very, very clearly there. Common Purpose, Oxfordshire. Foxcombe Hall, Boars Hill, Oxford. Now I wonder what it is, I wonder why it is that something like Common Purpose have decided to base themselves in this remote location. Because as you see, it's quite a remote village, quite a long way from Oxford. There's Oxford over there. The Common Purpose are always involved in everything. You'd think they would maybe set up an office in the city, but they haven't. They've chosen to base themselves in this very, very strange little out-of-the-way place. The atmosphere of Boars Hill is actually quite intimidating. There's lots of big houses. It's kind of like Millionaire's Row. And it's not like Binsey. I mean, you remember I went to Binsey. I'll put a link in the description box. And it was a lovely little place. I mean, Mr. Jack Official, I think he said, he expected hobbits to come out of the houses. Binsey's the kind of place that all American tourists think that British people live in. They call it quaint. Well, there's nothing quaint about Boars Hill. It's quite intimidating. That mound and everything involved adds to that, I think. So, I think, unless you have been living in an EastEnders fan club commune in the middle of Siberia, you will have heard of Common Purpose. I mean, there's very little needs to be said about Common Purpose. It's a think tank, cultural Marxist infiltration organisation for the New World Order, basically. And it's based at Boars Hill. It says Oxford there, but it's actually, Boars Hill is outside Oxford. It's a hamlet in a district outside Oxford. Well, thank you for watching Hapanwo TV. I hope you found that interesting. I think the biggest lesson you can learn from this is that the political and the occult are always linked. All right, you get the political and the occult, the mound and the strange sort of occult elements of the village, and the political side, Common Purpose. They're together. And I think they're two barrels on the same gun. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I want to teach people. So, hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order.